So it's time for the TV show of the week. Or month, I'm not sure. But it's a good friggin' show. Let's get to it. This show originally started back in 2003 and went all the way through to 2007. And back then it was called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And the concept of this show was that 5 gay men would give straight guys a makeover. That included diet, grooming, fashion, interior design, and culture. So 5 themes. Yeah. And the team back then, or the hosts, if you say so back then, were Ted Allen, Food and Wine, Carson Kressley, Fashion, Kian Douglas, Grooming, Tom Felicia, I think it's pronounced, Interior Design, Jay Rodriguez, for Culture. Now Netflix has launched a reboot of this show, and it's now only called Queer Eye because it's not just for straight guys, but it's for every kind of male out there in the world. And they're no longer based in New York, but they're now in Atlanta, Georgia. They have a new team, which I will dive into a bit more later on in the video. I'll give you more of a rundown of the new hosts. So Queer Eye is just 1 season so far. It's got only 8 episodes, which makes me very sad because it's such a good show, and I will get into why later on. There are a few differences with the new reboots and how it first started back in 2003. And I think the major thing that's different, okay, keep in mind I haven't seen the old one, the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I've just seen this new one, so I can't compare the two too much. But the arrangement of it is quite different from what I've heard the new team or the new host and the new people say. And it's that they used to only have 1 day, but now in this reboot they have an entire week with the person or the individual that they are doing a makeover of. And it's also not just about the exterior, but it's also about the interior, which means that they help boost their self-esteem, confidence, and possibly even make them a bit more open-minded, because a lot of these people that you will see in the show haven't met a gay guy before, or a gay man, and it's a completely different culture and community that they haven't been dived in, if you can say that. So let's have a careful rundown of the new team or the new hosts. And let's start with, first of all, if I am absolutely slaughtering your names or their names, I am so sorry. I can't pronounce anything like at all, so I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names. Okay, so let's start with Bobby Burke. He is in charge of design or interior design, which means that he is the one that will change their homes and step up their homes a bit and make them look a bit more modern and functional, and just overall look a bit fresher and better, in my opinion, and also the heroes' opinions. Heroes are the individuals getting the makeover. So with Bobby, because I am on a first name basis with all of them, that he's a bit more laid back in the group. You don't really get to see him work that much. There's some scenes or shots where he's redecorating or repainting or even an old dresser. His job before mattress in the first episode with Jonathan and Tom, and Tom is one of the heroes, but you don't get to see him like work that much. You see him supervising and making sure that everything is running the way it's supposed to, but not seeing him like get like in the dirt and work. But that's not to say that he's not good at what he does. It's just that he doesn't get that much screen time, if you say so. And the episodes are roughly around 40 minutes. So even if you split the time evenly between all 5 of them, they would have about 8 minutes worth of time. And that's just like 8 minutes isn't that much. So I think, so the reason I get the impression that he's a bit more laid back is because he is more laid back in the shots where you see him, apart from when he helps deliver Jonathan's baby in the shot before mattress, and he's just like, it feels like he lets loose a bit more. But that's like, you don't get to see Bobby that much, like just him and the hero or him just working. What I love about Bobby, because we're going to assume this is reality show, we don't know what happens behind the scenes, but I'm going to assume, because he's the face of it, that he is doing all the work and all the planning and everything. So I'm going to assume this is what he does. And what I love about what he's done or what he's doing in the show is his attention to detail and how he listens to the other people in the team and to the heroes. For example, in one of the episodes, I think it's like maybe episode 4 or something, there was this big painting which the hero loved. He just repainted the frame black, and then there was this purple detail in the painting, and he took that purple detail and he just brought some other purple elements to just tie everything together. I think that's really sweet. Now the homes and the rooms and everything that he is redesigning and just refurnished and everything, they look very fresh and modern and nice but still keeping elements that makes it personal for them. For example, a swing in AJ's apartments, he kept that. The painting, just so it still feels like their home and not just like something out of a catalog. And it just, yeah, it looks nice, it looks modern, and it's functional. I am 100% going to mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. So the next one is Karamo Brown. I can't pronounce his last name, at least. Brown. He is the culture man, and that sounds so weird, culture man. You get to see him quite a lot in the episodes, like not a lot, but still like quite a lot. He's one of the people you get to see the most in the episodes. I get the impression that he's very charismatic and smart and someone that is easy to talk to, which I think is a huge bonus, and I think that's a quality a lot of people doesn't have. And I feel like he's someone that makes you feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations, if that makes sense. He just has that kind of like energy and aura, if you say so, around him that just calms you down a bit. I might be wrong, I don't know. I am probably not the only one that was confused as to what culture meant, like what exactly it is that he's doing. And after some episodes I had a thought, which happens every so often, and I think I understand what his role in the show is. Feel free to tell me otherwise. There are scenes he takes heroes out to learn how to dance, like the climbing part and go over the ropes and stuff, be up in the air and having to jump down. I don't know what it's called, it's like adventure up in the trees, like something. He shows Tom, but he tried to teach him how to walk with swag. That's such a weird word for me to say. I don't like that word. And he also spoke to, this episode I felt it was emotional. He had this long conversation, which I appreciated that they kept into the episode. And it's when he and this policeman, this white southern policeman, have this talk about Black Lives Matter, and you get to see their perspective and just see and listen to their conversation about it. And what I love about that is that they both are listening to each other and not just shutting each other down and just say, you know what, this is how it is, but they genuinely are listening to each other and having a conversation. And I personally appreciate that. So these are things that he's doing. When I hear culture, I'm assuming that he would be exposing them to cultures or part of culture that they haven't been exposed to before, or to further educate them about these cultures. Although that's sort of what he's doing, for example with the Black Lives Matter conversation, but I think a lot of what he does is that he helps them get better confidence and self-esteem and possibly even open-minded, for example with the Black Lives Matter conversation with this policeman. And that is something that I feel like is very important. And that was to create a conversation to hear both sides of this massive problem that is going on, especially in the US. Well, that's what you hear most of, with policemen and just people in power and to people of color. In conclusion, I think his job is to expose these heroes to experiences they haven't had before, or to further explore them so that they will grow as people and get more open-minded and get better confidence and self-esteem. I might be wrong about all of that, but that's what I've been thinking. Tan France. He is the fashion mogul. Like about 99.9% sure that I've used it right. I get the impression he's also one of the people you get to see a little bit more of, I feel like, but still not one of the most, but more than Bobby, but not as much as Karamo? But as with Bobby, I see him a bit more laid back, you know, so like full in your face. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just seems like he's a bit more laid back. So because not stationed in New York, in this smaller town, he's challenged more to find places to shop clothes, because that's what he does. He is doing a makeover of their style or their fashion. He keeps the style, but he just steps it up a bit. So it means that sometimes all he's got to work with are vintage stores or maybe Target, and still has to make that work for the people or for the person that he's doing a makeover on or of. English is not my first language. I think Tan gives good advice, such as if you have more of a pink red undertone, then the pinks and reds and maybe the oranges aren't exactly the colors you should go with, but instead more of the blue and earthy colored sheen. Yeah, he also teaches them how to shop for clothes that actually fits and suits their body type. So not baggy clothes that they look a lot bigger than they already are, but some that are just a bit more fitting and actually looks a bit better on them. He does these simple things like layering just like checkered on top of a shirt, which is very simple and basic, but the thing is, these small things makes a big difference into these people's wardrobes. Or just using a flat cap, I think that's what it's called, a flat cap, instead of a snapback. Everything that they put on actually looks really good. He gives advice that to layer up things so you're not just working with one side of your body but every side of your body, which I haven't really thought of. I thought about layering, but I haven't thought of why you layer things, apart from that you're cold and you can take items off if you get warm or put more on if you get cold. Now we have Jonathan Van Ness. He is the boss of grooming. Jonathan has a very big personality. And I think he has the most outgoing personality. I think he has the most outgoing, more like in your face type of personality than the others. He's got the type of personality which you will immediately notice in like a group of people. And there's nothing wrong with that. I personally do like it. He doesn't apologize for who he is. He's just so himself and I love it. He just seems so secure and confident within himself, and it doesn't change, like he doesn't tone down his personality depending on who he's with. I find that refreshing. So if you say grooming to me, if y'all hear the word grooming, I will immediately think of mustache, beard and your hair. And that's what he does. He trims your hair, he trims their beards and mustaches that makes them look all fresh and good. And you do get to see him work with it, like you do get to see him cut hair and trim, so you know he is actually qualified at what he does. But he also get the time for it on the episodes, which you don't really get to see Bobby do that much. But that's not Bobby's fault, it's just the production and how they have edited everything. That's how it is. Personally don't think it's fair to Bobby, but I mean, what you gonna do? But Jonathan doesn't just do the hair, but he thinks about the skin, so you also get to see him do some DIY scrubs with some good and healthy products. So watch the episode to find out how to do it. What do I love about Jonathan? You get to see him work, which isn't, again, up to him, but you know he's good at what he's doing. And also what I love the most about him isn't actually his work, but it's just his personality, and that is just so unapologetically himself. Last but not least, we have Anthony Porowski. I said his name so good in my head, but now I can't pronounce it. He is the food and wine guy. He's a bit more laid back and relaxed. He's quite quiet on the show. He doesn't say that much. I mean, he speaks, but he doesn't say that much on the show. I know that Anthony has gotten quite a lot of heat from people questioning whether or not he actually can cook, because everything he does on the show is very basic, like doing homemade guacamole, like cutting an avocado, or making a grilled cheese. It's all very basic things. But here's the ish on that, and it's a big ish. I don't know what that means. Like, they didn't know how to do these simple things. Well, he did say that grilled cheese is very basic in the show, and the hero didn't know how to make the grilled cheese. I think it was Neil. But they just did a different thing with it. I don't know. But like, some of them didn't know how to get the pit out of the avocado. And can I just say that I cut open an avocado yesterday and the pit split, and I didn't know how to get it out. Like, it was so difficult to get the pit out without destroying the entire avocado. I could cut it and you twist it and the pit has split, so I had pits in both halves of my avocado, and it was a mess. So what I think people need to keep in mind when they are watching the show is that it's not about him showing off his cooking skills, but it's about him teaching the heroes how to make simple dishes that they can cook themselves, and maybe food prepping. Sometimes that includes something as simple as how to get the pit out of an avocado, or how to make a grilled cheese or mac and cheese, though that was something different. But anyway, what I like about Anthony is that I don't know if he did it himself, if the production told him to do it or whatever it was, but one of the things that I liked is that he actually does go a bit more of the extra mile. So in one episode I visited the hero's mom, spoke to her and found out that there was some signature kind of dishes that her husband used to do, and he took those dishes and tried to teach them or give examples of how the hero could do it himself, so that he could continue on like the food legacy, if you can say that. This is such a long video, but overall I do really like the show. I like the team, but I would have loved to see a bit more of some of them, for example Bobby, and to see a bit more of how they work and when they're working. I think that's something, like you get to see Tan in every episode and when he's going out and shopping with them, and that might be like 10 minutes something. Like I said, you don't get to see Bobby that much and it bothers me. But I mean, maybe next season, I don't know, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Something else that I like about the show, like I said, is that they keep the emotional bits in the show. For example, when AJ came out to his like stepmom, I think you could say, like but the Black Lives Matter conversation, I still really like it, because I feel like that's something that like most other shows would just cut that out, but they kept it and I applaud you for it. And the last thing that I can think of right now that I love about it is that it's diverse and all of them's got different backgrounds. So we have Tan, who's from Pakistan. Pakistan, is that how you pronounce it? I think so. And we have Karamo, who's black, and then we of course you have white males. So yeah, I just appreciate that it's diverse. You can watch Fab 5 Queer Eye on Netflix right now. Go watch it. I highly do recommend. I think it's a great show. Will make you emotional, especially Tom, because I love Tom. And AJ, he's a charm. And they are engaged now. They're engaged, and it made me really happy when I saw it. Thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Comment down below. Share. Do whatever you want to. I will see you next time, and I don't know when that is, but I will see you then. Okay, bye.